What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Signature Sip. I'm here with Andy Lopez.
Hello.
Andy, we're just going to have a conversation. You'll be fine.
All right.
How old are you?
21. I'll be 22 in October.
So 22 in October.
Yep.
And you are a full-time college student.
That is correct.
Where at?
Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Rutgers, New Brunswick. Nice. I went to Rutgers in Newark. Didn't graduate, though. I left my last year. Oh, God. Should have stayed for a little bit. Good old fun times. That was only last year. No, I'm kidding. That's a long time ago. All right. So what are you majoring in, though?
Journalism and media studies. I started out thinking that I would do political science.
Yeah, I did that.
It's not for me.
Uh-huh.
Then I did. Then I thought I was going to do communications. Still not for me. Now journalism and media studies. And I'm kind of set there. And I think that's where I'm going to end up for now.
And you do real estate basically almost full-time, right?
More or less. In the summer, I have the most free time. During the school year, I try to take most of my classes where they're online and I don't really have to be in class so that I have more flexibility. But yeah, more or less full-time student, full-time agent.
Yeah, and in my definition, you are actually a successful real estate agent. You do quite a bit as far as transactions. Like how many millions of dollars in sales volume do you have in a pipeline right now, just in your pipeline under contract?
Just right now, about 5 million, 4 million, 5 million.
Yeah. So so people have some context out there, 5 million is probably more than the average agent is actually doing in an annual basis, right? 20% of agents in this business, there's about 63,000 agents in New Jersey. There's 1.6 million across the nation. They're not doing 5 million a year, or rather 20% are doing it. The other 80% are not. So how do you find time to do that? And if you have 5 million in your pipeline right now, I mean, we can argue that you're probably going to end up the year doing $8, $9, $10 million in sales volume, which puts you, upper six figures, like 150 to 200,000 in GCI, which is incredible considering that you're a full-time student.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal, to end up with about 10 million in sales volume. In regards to finding the time, it really just comes down to being organized and structured with my schedule. I live and die by having everything in my calendar, making sure that, anything that's school related is being taken care of, anything that's real estate related being taken care of, and that I'm not dropping the ball on either side of the game.
So when you get out of class, do you put like your real estate cape on and you just fly out? Dun, 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 got real estate to sell. Oh my God. Get used to the corny jokes. There's a couple of them in this pod. All right, so walk me through. You've been an agent now with us actually for 3 years, since the age of 18. Why real estate and still go to school, right? Because I know that there are some people that make the decision to leave college and just do real estate full time. Why are you doing both? Because that is a sacrifice, right? Having to go to school, then you obviously have to set time aside for you to study, read, do your homework, right? And then you're still servicing clients, and you're servicing a lot of clients. You're part of our Zillow Flex accounts. You're getting connected to a lot of warm leads, consumers that are looking to buy, some that are looking to sell. Why do both? What's your goal?
So when I was 18, I just graduated high school. I knew that I wanted to go to school. I knew that I had to pay for school, and my parents couldn't necessarily help me. So I was thinking, what can I do that will offer me a little bit of flexibility, make good income, be able to pay off my school debt, and not go entirely crazy. Ultimately, I decided that real estate might be a good fit. When I first started that first year, though, I wasn't so sure. It was definitely...
And that was 22, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was definitely rough. I considered giving up at that point. There was not a lot going on in the real estate world for me. I kept going, and then we've progressed, and things have definitely picked up. But yeah, I really appreciate the financial flexibility that I get from being in the real estate world and being able to do this with school. Because if I had a 9-to-5 job somewhere else, it would really be super hard. I'd only have to take night classes. And that's just too chaotic for me. So I appreciate this kind of chaotic where it's just every day is a different life, basically.
So it affords you a very flexible schedule where you can earn income and you can still turn it off, focus on your homework, focus on your studies, focus on your obviously your college degree. Are you ever going to let go? Like, 'cause I feel like you're never going to let go of real estate. Like, regardless of what you're majoring in, I feel like 10 years from now, you're still continuing to do real estate. Whether you be, let's say, I don't know what your goal is, become a journalist or a news reporter, because I know you're into journalism, that's your major. What are you ever going to let go of real estate, or is this something that you're going to continue to do to further yourself in life financially? Because you gotten a taste of understanding, like, well, if I structure myself, I can make 6 figures out of real estate and still do what I want to do in addition to that.
Absolutely. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with my life yet. I know I want to have that degree. Am I going to, once I graduate, go into the field? I'm not sure yet. I don't think I'll let go of real estate anytime soon. I really do enjoy doing it. Who knows where life will take me soon.
I love your story, right? And to me, it's just all about mindset with you, right? Here you are, your parents can't really afford, and I kind of share the same thing, same story back, when I went to college. My parents couldn't pay for it either, and that's kind of what drove me to do mortgages at the time, which is very similar to real estate. But you're the type of person that's very pragmatic. You figured it out. Like, I want to go to school. I know that there's an important aspect of getting a college degree in this country, and you made a decision like, all right, how do I do it without having any assistance from my parents or any financial assistance outside of my parents? You went ahead and decided to jump into real estate, and it was a rough year for you, right? Especially because, look, it's not easy to jump into real estate at any age, period, especially your first year, because there's a big learning curve. And then on top of that, you add the fact that you're 18 years of age, right? There's also that notion that some people may not want to work with someone so young, right? They may think that you're too young to show them properties or guide them through all the moving parts of buying a home, and to see that you made that decision early on, so you could put yourself through school is like something that's very commendable. And I want to pat your back. I didn't know that about you, to be honest with you. It's super cool. And I love it, to be honest with you. I'm really proud of you, actually. Here I am, like, being a dad. Super proud of you for doing that. If somebody was out there listening right now that is in college, but they can't pay for it, or they're making the decision to go to school, what's some advice that you would give them starting off, right? Because a lot of people may not think about doing real estate part-time or, on their spare time, because that's what you do. You're not a part-time agent. You're a spare time agent. Like, you do real estate on your spare time where you're at his class, right? I see it because I see you active on Follow Up Boss and on Instagram. What's your advice to people out there, to young kids age 18, 19, or getting set to go to college, can't really pay for it? How do they get into this business?
My advice is to not be scared. It's definitely terrifying starting out, really in any profession when you're super young, but just going for it, not letting that kind of deter you from, following your goals. But yeah, I was terrified. Even on my first call, when I first hopped on the call with you, I'm sitting there thinking, like, this guy's gonna think I'm, like, nuts or crazy. He's gonna be like, what does this kid know about anything? But yeah, always just going for it. There's not a lot of things that should be able to hold you back. And that's kind of what my motto is in life in general.
Yeah, but real estate, you used real estate as a vehicle, right? To fuel your purpose. You wanted to go to school, right? And even though I think that you're probably going to become a full-time agent, right? And you're going to rock as a full-time agent, right? Do, crazy numbers. You use it as a vehicle to achieve the goals in your life, right? And that's the beauty about real estate. Like, I think a lot of people have this misconception. Like, I don't particularly like real estate outside of the office. Like, when I'm at a barbecue and my friends are like, "Hey, how's the real estate market?" I'm like, "Joe, it's all the time. Like, how's the real estate market?" I'm like, I don't want to. I just want to eat and enjoy, a conversation that has nothing to do with real estate, because I talk about it all the time. Like me, I never looked at real estate as, this is my passion. Like, no, like, soccer was my passion. Sports was my passion, right? That was my passion. But I realized very early on with real estate, just like with mortgages, because I was in a mortgage industry, right? It's still the real estate industry, that this is a vehicle that I can use properly, if I use properly, can get me to where I want to get in life, right? And then fast forward it to 20 plus years, here I am still doing real estate, but it keeps fueling all the things I want to obtain in my life for me and my family. And that's what it is. It's not so particular, like I'm very passionate. I am passionate about certain aspects of real estate, like the hospitality, right? The service. And I tell people all the time, we're not real estate agents. We're not salespeople, to be honest with you. We're in a hospitality industry. We're in the service industry. We are servicing clients, buyers, sellers. We're cultivating relationships. That's really what we're doing, and for anybody out there because I think I could piggyback off of your advice. If you're 18, 19 years old, and let's just say you're not fortunate enough, which both Andy and I can speak from our experience. We weren't fortunate enough either to have our parents be able to put us through school. If you're not fortunate enough where you can afford school, I want you to go to school, but I want you to take your real estate class. And if you're listening to this and you're that young and you're making this decision, I will comp your class free of charge, including your book, right? So some courses are about $300-$400 plus the book $50. I'll comp the entire course and the book. If this is why you're doing, if you want to put yourself through school, take the real estate course, go through it, wait a year before you make the decision to go to school. Do this for a year, right? Get that entrepreneurial in you, and then go to college, right? When you have a couple of dollars saved up, pay for your tuition. There's less pressure, because I think that with you, Andy, there was a lot of pressure, right? And with me, I went to my first semester. I remember I couldn't pay for it. Bloomfield College, couldn't pay for my first semester. I was forced to drop out. I ended up going to Essex County College afterwards, but I took some time off, did mortgages, and worked a full-time job at the airport, saved up money, right? Then at that point, I was able to afford it, went to Essex County College, got my associate's degree, and then I transferred over to Rutgers University. But by the time I was at Rutgers, right before my last year, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I was a poli-sci major too, just like you. I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I actually enjoy what I'm doing, right? Again, I enjoy it. It wasn't my passion, but I enjoyed what I was doing. And I'm like, I can see myself making this a career and potentially make more money than my poli-sci major, right? Or a career in poli-sci. And boy, I was right. I not only did I make this a career, but I made it a very great living from it, right? Became a millionaire at a very young age, went broke, and then became a millionaire again, 10 years later. That's the kind of business that we're in. Like, if you put 3-4 good years into real estate as an agent or as a loan officer or as a title rep, you can do very well for yourself, right? You can make $100,000, you can make $400,000, you can make $1 million+ dollars. That's the type of business that we're in. So if you're out there and you can't afford to go to college, right, there are other solutions for you. There are other alternatives, especially if you can't qualify for financial aid because your parents are middle class, lower middle class, and they make too much money, or not too much money, but they make over the threshold or financial aid, right? This is such a great vehicle for you. And that's kind of why I wanted to jump on the pod with you. In addition to, learning to become a successful full-time agent while you're going to school as a full-time college student. Not an easy feat, but it's something that you've done. So why don't you run me through your schedule? Like, your class schedule and then like your real estate schedule. How do you intermingle both? How do you separate it? Like, how do you handle that chaos?
So right now I'm living full-time at Rutgers. I'm in New Brunswick, off campus.
Mm-hmm. So you got rent.
I do have
We're
rent.
paying you too much money. John, we got to pay these guys less money.
I do have
Good for you.
I have my rent, everything. I'm fully independent at this point.
How much is rent?
It's not that bad.
How much?
It's $500.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you rooming?
I was single, so it's just me in my room. We have three others in the house.
Gotcha. All right. So great.
Yes.
Almost like house hacking at that point.
Yeah.
All right. So continue. Sorry.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy and chaotic there at the house sometimes. So if I'm taking calls, I have to step out. I have to, go somewhere else because there's so much going on.
So that's another obstacle, right? So you're going to school, can't pick up your phone while you're in school, right? And then you room with a bunch of people. They're making a lot of noise, right? You're focusing on the next 10, 20 years of your life. They're looking to be frat boys and party and do what most average college students want to do, right? Hang out and enjoy themselves. You're looking at bigger picture, right? So go ahead. So sometimes you got to step out.
Yeah, sometimes I got to step out. I don't really have a dedicated office space in the house because it's just my little room. So sometimes I'll do a lot of work, like at a coffee shop, at the library, I'll go out somewhere where it's definitely quieter. But yeah, when I do have my in-person classes, I head to my classes. I make sure that before I get there, I'm making sure that I don't have any unanswered emails or anything that's urgent that needs to be tended to immediately. I get to class, I sit there, depending on how long it is. Some of them are just a little over an hour, some of them are almost 3 hours. Depending on which class it is, I'm hoping and praying that nobody needs me in that time. But yeah, I try to make sure that mostly everything's online because that affords me the most flexibility. But of course, there's certain classes that I just have to take in person, and I just don't have a choice. What I do try to do though is schedule my in-person classes to be early on in the day because most people who want to see houses, they want to see houses after 5 p.m. after they get off of work. So yeah, so most classes early on, but just in between classes, I'm always doing things. I might walk back home, but I might just stay around on campus. I might sit somewhere, sit on my laptop, answer emails, talk to all the people that I need to talk to. And after about 5 p.m. is when I'm sort of full-time. I'm doing all of my appointments, a lot of follow-up, all of that fun stuff goes on usually after 5 p.m. So day's pretty chaotic from start to finish because I'm sure some clients there at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. texting you, trying to call you with all sorts of situations that arise.
You're nonstop all day basically, right? Between classes, studying, and then obviously, servicing your clients and managing your transactions. So, I mean, in order for that to happen though, you have to leverage, I would assume, systems and processes, right? Any particular system that you're leveraging, processes that you're leveraging. Well, I know FUB, CRM, right?
Definitely Follow Up Boss. At the beginning, I wasn't so good at kind of managing everything so well. It was a little more hectic. But now definitely my Follow Up Boss, my calendar, my reminders app too, all of that's super important for me to kind of stay on track and make sure that everything's being taken care of, especially when you're handling more than one transaction at a time. Even when you're handling just one, there's crazy stuff that's happening. But like right now that I had 6 in one, at one time, it was crazy.
Yeah. Wait, 6 transactions all at once?
Yeah, I had 6 under contract. I just closed 2 of them, so I have 4 more that are under contract now.
And you got that $2.3 million under contract, right?
Yep, that's exciting
is that going
too.
Well?
That is going well.
Right.
That one will also probably turn into a listing in Short Hills here nearby. So
21 years old, $2.3 million deal on the buy side, potentially, obviously getting a listing that's close to $2 million, if not more than $2 million in Short Hills, right? So that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I know that a lot of agents, it takes a while usually to get to the point where you can sell a multi-million-dollar property. So I'm really blessed. I'm really grateful that I've been afforded that opportunity. And I'm thankful to the brokerage too, because they kind of have allowed us some opportunities like Zillow Flex where that's possible for us.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I was going to talk about. At your age, and obviously the fact that you're going to school full time. Talk about the importance of being on a lead platform like Zillow Flex or any platform like OpCity as well, because I think you have a pretty good transaction there too, over $1 million or something like that. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? If I was 18, 19 years old, in college or coming out of college, right, and just jumping into this industry, why is it important?
Those lead platforms are so important when you're on the younger side. I'm sure they're important all the time, but especially when you're younger, because my sphere of influence, again, it's other 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. They're not looking to buy, they're not looking to sell. Really what I have is maybe their parents, but then it's a whole thing trying to convince them as well. But having those lead platforms and warm leads that come in, they're super helpful because there are people that I wouldn't have met otherwise.
There are opportunities, right? There are opportunities that that you're not spending any time creating. Zillow, Realtor.com, they're creating it for you, versus you having to create it which would require you to either pay for them or take time out of your day, 2, 3, 4 hours, which you don't have, right? Because you're in school and you're dedicated, you're studying, stuff like that. So the advantage is really the convenience, the time, the ability to shorten the runway when it comes to, lead generate, right?
Absolutely. And even with these warm leads from these platforms, they still take time and work to convert. But again, you're cutting out that first part where you're trying to find those leads in the first place.
Which is a lot more time consuming.
Yeah. And then converting them is also hard when you're young because, I'm showing up to these appointments, usually older, people that are looking to buy, late 20s, 30s, 40s. Sometimes I show up and they look past me or they're like, are you Andy? And I'm like, hey, I am. I'm here to show you the property. It's funny. One of the deals that I closed when I first met that client through Zillow, he asked me if I was an intern or someone's assistant, which is something that I get semi-frequently. A little bit less now, definitely more so at the beginning.
Because you're a lot more, you're more confident, you're more polished when you speak as far as real estate lingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how are you handling that objection in the beginning? Like, for example, that individual, or what was your response when they asked you if you're an intern or somebody's assistant?
My response is usually to tell them, obviously, no, I'm a licensed agent.
I've been doing this for 3 years.
Now I can say that. At the beginning, it was a little more tricky.
I've been doing this for 3 years. I got a lot of transactions under my belt. I just did a $2.3 million.
Yeah.
I hope you leverage those things because you should.
I know, but at the beginning, it's like, how long have you been doing this? And you've been doing it for 6 months. You don't want to say that.
No.
So kind of just leveraging the company as a whole, instead of saying, oh, I've been doing this for 3 months, for 6 months. I just started. For example, the first deal that I ever did, she didn't know that it was my first transaction until the very end, and she was surprised and she was really happy. She was like, "Oh, that's super sweet. It's both of our first." She was a first-time home buyer. She was on the younger side. She was 26, 27, so a little easier for my first transaction. Because even now, I get a hard time from the older folks. Sometimes when I get leads for maybe a 55-plus community and I show up, they seem skeptical still.
Oh, you're my little grandson.
But I think to overcome that, I don't really get the question anymore, how old are you or how long have you been doing this?
Well, because there's a different pep to your step now. Like I noticed the transition and obviously the gradual change in your confidence level when we talk about real estate from when you were 18 3 years ago till now. And I think that people, when they hear you speak, I think people are not going to question it anymore, right? You've earned that right. Plus you have experience, right? Which comes with transactions, right? How many transactions have you closed already? Over 10.
Yeah, definitely over 10.
So you have your season there and you got a bunch of transactions this year that you've already closed and a lot in the pipeline. So your confidence level is going to keep rising, and that is going to be less of an issue going forward. Plus, the process extremely well, right? So when someone's talking to you for 2-3 minutes, you're going to be like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? It's not like you're going to leave some sort of doubt, right? I would approach it differently. I'd be like, all right, let's address the elephant in the room. I am 21. But I know my real estate. I know. I look young.
It depends.
I wish I had that problem.
It depends on the person. Sometimes I will tell them from the get-go that I'm super young. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes it's mid-transaction. Actually, one of the ones I have under contract right now, during inspections, I asked them, I was like, how old do you think I am? And she told me 25. I was like, a little bit lower. She's like 24, 23. I was like, still a little lower.
Is this the one in Berkeley Heights?
No, this is down in Titusville. So I'm all over the place.
And what was her reaction?
She was surprised, and I told her I'm still in school too. And she had gone to Rutgers too, so she thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy when I meet different people. So sometimes I definitely will. I'm like, I'm super young. I know that you can see it. But I know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for 3 years now. And again, now that it's been 3 years, I feel more comfortable talking about my experience. But even more so, just in speaking to them about the process, giving that buyer consultation about what it is from step A to step Z, that question doesn't really come up anymore. So it depends on the vibe with the person on what I tell them.
Last minute advice. anybody out there that's young that wants to get into the real estate business, what is your top 3 advices for them?
My top 3 advices, again, is to not be scared, to lead with confidence always, even when you think that you don't know the answer to something, not making it sound that way. Even you can confidently say, I will get back to you on that shortly. I don't want to give you information that's not totally accurate. There's just different ways of, you know, phrasing things.
The way you say it, right? The tonality and the way you say something.
The way you say it is super important.
Could be the difference.
Yeah, super important. Yeah. Because again, if you show up and you don't sound confident, someone's not going to want to work with you, especially if you look super young. So
huge investment, right, that they're making.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest purchases that people are going to make in their lives, and that's a conversation that I have with most people. I tell them, you know, it's one of the biggest purchases. You want someone on your side that knows what they're doing, that they're going to work diligently, they're going to be honest, transparent, all that good stuff for you. So those things are super important when you're starting out and when you're young.
And definitely jump to a brokerage that's going to offer you leads, because you know, with you being in school, or anybody being in school, right, time is not on your side, right? So if you really want to do this full time, like you're doing it, you want to make sure that you are on as many lead platforms as possible, and that varies from brokerage to brokerage. You know, we've been fortunate at Signature that, you know, we're partners with Zillow, we're partners with Realtor.com, and many other companies out there that connect us with buyers and sellers that are looking to obviously make a decision on, you know, either selling their properties or property or buying a property, right? And you've taken full advantage of it, which I'm super proud and happy. I know your conversion rate, your performance based on metrics and KPIs right now on especially the Zillow Flex account has been tremendous. You've been leading the way there, which is great. You know, and I can't wait to see what Andy Lopez is going to look like in the next 3 to 5 years. Right, not a journalist. He's going to be a full-time real estate agent. I know that. You know, and how much more you grow as a person, because I think you have a lot to offer, tremendously. Right, I can't even say kiddo, because I feel like you're not a kid. Like I feel like you're not a 21-year. Like you're not the average 21-year-old. Like in my opinion, like you're just not. Like my nephew's 21. Like that to me, he's like, you know, shout out to my nephew, but he's a kiddo. Like I would call him kiddo. Like, you know, like with you, it's like I've seen you grow so much in the last 3 years that to me, you're a grown adult. Like I feel like you've been doing this for quite some time, right? I feel like you've been doing this for like 10 years already, you know, and that's a testament of your growth as far as like, you know, the changes as a real estate agent that I've seen. All right, awesome. If you like this pod, like and subscribe.